Hey there, Gemini. Welcome back to my channel. If you enjoy my readings, please be sure to like and subscribe. And be sure to leave me a comment and let me know if this reading resonates with you. Alright, so today we're going to use the Merlin cards as well as the Narcissistic Tarot. So, with that in mind, go ahead and think about your question that you have. And I'm going to shuffle these cards up. Alright, so go ahead and think about your question, and we're going to lay down some cards while we're waiting for you. You feel free to pause the video if you need a minute to think about it. And especially if you've had a certain narcissist giving you trouble, bullying. Alright, So your central and present issue has to do with an older woman, and she's very wise and indulgent. Alright, so this is the water sign reversed. So it may actually be a water sign that you're dealing with. And it says, your narcissist card says, you made me. You made me do it. So that's blame shifting. That's whenever you're not taking responsibility for the baloney that you're putting out in the world. Someone's blame shifting. Instead of taking the responsibility for what they've done, they're going to try and blame everybody else. Alrighty, and for the factors affecting the situation, we've got the Earth card, admiration, wealth, and earthiness. And this one has a Taurus right on the front of it. So it may have something to do with a Taurus or any earth signs such as Virgo or even Capricorn. Someone may be manipulating you if they try to dodge your questions. Alright, so watch out, Gemini. If someone is trying to dodge your questions, one of the most manipulative things to do is if someone's asking you a bunch of questions and you really don't want to answer them, sometimes especially narcissists will answer your questions with a question. It's very irritating. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what your past. In the past we had the reptilian, the frog here, moisture, but it's reversed. And it says an old man, stability, and reflection. So let's take a look and see what Narcissus card comes up. The Four Horsemen of the Relationship Apocalypse. Okay, so this is a really good one actually, because many people who are in a narcissistic relationship feel like it's only one person in the relationship who's a narcissist, but it definitely takes two to tango. So it's going to take two to fix it. It's going to take two to tear it down. So this Four Horsemen of the Narcissism by John Gottman has to do with criticism. When you go into a relationship criticizing, then the other person is going to immediately become defensive. And this contempt is going to set in. And what it's going to, end up is stonewalling. So, it takes two to make a thing go wrong, and it takes two to make a thing go right. So, both parties have to realize that, it's going to take change if you don't want it to end your relationship, okay? And it doesn't matter if it's your lover or your best friend, your mom, or your neighbor. If there's not equal give and take, you're probably just going to have to write that one off. Alright, so for your factors affecting the situation, we've got dryness, which has a lion right on the front of it, and it says safety, desired results, and a crowd. So you might be dealing with a lot of people. And the Narcissist card says, I'm sorry, what more do you want from me? Unapologetic. So that is definitely part of the problem when it comes to, relationships that are in stagnation, is you have to change. And change is hard. We get stuck in our old ways, and we don't want to change. And it's not just people who've been in relationships for a long time. Okay, and your final outcome is the Heat card, and it's reversed, which is the Phoenix rising up out of the ashes, but it's reversed. So you've got an enemy, and as well as a regression and instability. So these are some of the things that you're going to be dealing with. And looks like I got another deck mixed up with my narcissist deck. Y'all bear with me. Personality disorder root. Okay, so childhood trauma or adulthood trauma can cause BPD or complex PTSD. Traumatic events. Anything traumatic can cause any kind of stressful situation. So Dr. Fox is the video that I got this particular information from. It says continuous trauma, adapting to stress, formal PTSD, and complex PTSD. All right, and total control by another person, emotional dysregulation, reliving traumatic events, difficulties of self-perception, disordered perception, fixation with the abuser, a revenge fantasy, or an isolation. You may be struggling with isolation or difficulties with one's system of meaning. You might be even struggling with hopelessness or depression or despair. Alright, so if this is the case, you definitely want to talk to a professional, okay? Some of these things can be overcome, but trauma is trauma. And even if it's something not that serious, something that, it could have just been a bully, somebody bullying you when you were a kid, but it can set off triggers in you. And then just any random person that you run into might set you into a trigger. So rather than thinking that everyone around you is wrong or a narcissist or whatever the situation is, you might realize that it could be trauma that's causing you to feel like, you're being triggered. Alright, so you definitely need to talk to a professional if you're feeling this way, especially if it has to do with PTSD. Just talking to a professional and letting them help you can make or break the whole situation. Alright, so let's take a couple manifestation cards and see if we can't manifest some positivity for the future. Okay. Be happy. Emanate confidence. Number 2. Appreciate what you do have and stay positive. And once again, emanate positivity. Alright, one more. Amethyst will help you raise your vibrations. Alright, so I hope that this resonates with all of you. If it does, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. And this was a pretty packed reading here. I just want to go ahead and say that number 1, I'm not a psychic. Number 2, I'm not a psychologist, and I'm not a doctor, but I definitely have been through a lot of hard times and a lot of traumatic experiences. So I definitely, that's why I try to tackle this extremely over my head subject. So, if this does indeed resonate with you, I want you to know you're not the only one. And if you're struggling with this type of stuff, definitely talk to a psychologist, because or even just, maybe you don't really feel like talking to a psychiatrist, but Dr. Ramani and Dr. Grande have some really great videos on YouTube that will kind of give you the opportunity to decipher for yourself if you feel like you really need some additional assistance from professionals. All right. And in the meantime, stay positive, think positive, and don't let every little thing drag you down, because life's too short for all that. All right. And as an epileptic person, I can relate. You can't allow things to get under your skin and defile your personality, because if you do that, for me, it can cause me a seizure, but for most normal people, it might cause you to lose some friendships or loved ones, or, any number of things that can happen. But yes, there's always consequences. So be sure to take these steps lightly, and just especially if you're dealing with trauma. It takes time. Time will heal all wounds. All right. Once again, my name's Stacy. Y'all come back and see me next week. We're not going to be doing the narcissist cards every week, only once a month. So you all have a wonderful full moon, and come back and see me next week.